Rodney George Laver AC is an Australian former tennis player widely regarded as one of the greatest in tennis history. He was the No. 1 ranked professional from 1964 to 1970, spanning 4 years before and 3 years after the start of the Open Era. He also was the No. 1 amateur in 1961-62 according to Lance Tingay. Laver's 200 singles titles are the most in tennis history, and he holds the all-time male singles records of 22 titles in a single season and 7 consecutive years, winning at least 10 titles per season. He excelled on all of the court surfaces of his time: grass, clay, hard, carpet, and wood, parquet. Despite being banned from playing the Grand Slam tournaments for the 5 years prior to the Open Era, he still won 11 singles titles. He is the only player to twice achieve the calendar year Grand Slam, in 1962 and 1969, and remains the only man to do so during the Open Era. He also won 8 Pro Slam titles, including the calendar year Pro Grand Slam in 1967, and contributed to 5 Davis Cup titles for Australia during an age when Davis Cup was deemed as significant as the Grand Slams. Personal life. Rodney George Laver was born in Rockhampton, Queensland, Australia, on the 9th of August 1938. He was the third of 4 children of Roy Laver, a cattleman and butcher, and his wife Melburnian. In 1966, Laver, aged 27, married Mary Benson in San Rafael, California. Born Mary Shelby Peterson in Illinois, she was a divorcee with 3 children. After the wedding ceremony, a group of well-known tennis players in attendance, including Lou Hode, Ken Rosewall, Roy Emerson, Mal Anderson, and Barry Mackay, stood outside the church with raised tennis rackets that formed an archway for the newlyweds to walk under. Laver and Mary had a son, and the family lived at various locations in California, including Rancho Mirage, Corona del Mar, a ranch near Santa Barbara, and Carlsbad. Mary Laver died in November 2012 at the age of 84 at the home in Carlsbad. Playing style. Although of a slightly shortened medium build, Laver developed a technically complete serve and volley game, with aggressive ground strokes to back it up. Dan Maskell, the voice of Wimbledon, described him as technically faultless. His left-handed serve was well disguised and wide-swinging. His ground strokes on both flanks were hit with top spin, as was the attacking top spin lob, which Laver developed into a weapon. His stroke technique was based on quick shoulder turns, true swings, and accurate timing. His backhand, often hit on the run, was a point-ender that gave him an advantage. Laver was very quick and had a strong left forearm. Rex Bellamy wrote, "The strength of that wrist and forearm gave him blazing power without loss of control, even when he was on the run and at full stretch. The combination of speed and strength, especially wrist strength, enabled him to hit ferocious winners when way out of court. At the net, he had forcing volleys, often hitter-stroke volleys. Especially on the backhand, he could hit sharp underspin angles as well. He was difficult to lob, because of his springing agility, and when forced to retreat, he could come up with a vicious counterpunch." As an amateur, Laver was a somewhat flashy player, often a late starter. He had to learn to control his adventurous shot-making and integrate percentage tennis into his game when he turned professional. In his prime, he could adapt his style to all surfaces and to all conditions. Laver had a strong record in 5-set matches, often turning things around with subtle changes of tactics. Career. Amateur Laver was a young boy when he left school to pursue a tennis career that lasted 24 years. He was coached in Queensland by Charlie Hollis and later by the Australian Davis Cup team captain Harry Hopman, who gave Laver the nickname Rocket. Laver was both Australian and US junior champion in 1957. He had his breakthrough on the world stage in 1959, when he reached all three finals at Wimbledon, winning the mixed doubles title with Darlene Hard. As an unseeded player, he lost the singles final to Peruvian Alex Olmedo after surviving an 87-game semi-final against American Barry Mackay. His first major singles title was the Australian Championships in 1960, where he defeated fellow Australian Neil Fraser in a 5-set final after coming back from 2 sets down and saving a Fraser championship point in the 4th set. Laver captured his first Wimbledon singles crown in 1961. In 1962, Laver became the first male player since Don Budge in 1938 to win all 4 Grand Slam singles titles in the same year and won an additional 18 titles in all. Among those titles were the Italian Championships and the German Championships, giving Laver the clay court triple of Paris, Rome, and Hamburg that had been achieved previously only by Lou Hode in 1956. The biggest hurdle to Laver's winning the Grand Slam was the French Championships on slow clay, where Laver won 3 consecutive 5-setters beginning with the quarterfinals. In his quarterfinal with Martin Mulligan, Laver saved a match point in the 4th set with a backhand volley after coming to the net behind a second serve. In the final, Laver lost the first 2 sets and was down 0-3 in the 4th set before coming back to defeat Roy Emerson. At Wimbledon, his progress was much easier. Laver lost only 1 set the whole tournament, to Manuel Santana in a quarterfinal, who held a set point for a 2-set lead. At the U.S. Championships, Laver lost only 2 sets during the tournament and defeated Emerson again in the final. In February 1963, he appeared on the panel game show To Tell the Truth, where all 4 panelists identified him based on his knowledge of the history of tennis. Professional before the Open Era. In December 1962, Laver turned professional after winning the Davis Cup with the Australian team. After an initial period of adjustment, he quickly established himself among the leading professional players such as Ken Rosewall, Lou Hode and Andre Gimeno, and also Pancho Gonzalez when Gonzalez returned to a full-time schedule in 1964. During the next 7 years, Laver won the U.S. Pro Tennis Championships 5 times, including 4 in a row beginning in 1966. In the beginning of 1963, Laver was beaten consistently by both Rosewall and Hode on an Australasian tour. Hode won the first 8 matches against Laver, and Rosewall won 11 out of 13. By the end of the year, however, with 6 tournament titles, Laver had become the No. 2 professional player behind Rosewall. In 1964, Laver and Rosewall both won 7 important titles, but Laver won 15 of 19 matches against Rosewall and captured the 2 most prestigious titles, the U.S. Pro Championships over Gonzalez and the Wembley Championships over Rosewall. In Tennis Week, Raymond Lee has described the Wembley match, where Laver came from 5-3 down in the 5th set to win 8-6, as possibly the best ever and one that changed tennis history. Lee regards this win as the one that began and established Laver's long reign as world number 1. The other prestige title, the French Pro, was won by Rosewall. In 1965, Laver was clearly the number 1 professional player, winning 17 titles and 13 of 18 matches against Rosewall. In 10 finals, Laver won 8 against the still dangerous Gonzalez. In 1966, Laver won 16 events, including the U.S. Pro Championships, the Wembley Pro Championship, and 8 other important tournaments. In 1967, Laver won 19 titles, including the Wimbledon Pro, the U.S. Pro Championships, the Wembley Pro Championship, and the French Pro Championship, which gave him a clear clean sweep of the most important professional titles, a professional Grand Slam. The tournament in 1967 on Wimbledon's centre court was the only professional event ever staged on that court before the Open Era began. Laver beat Rosewall in the final 6-2, 6-2, 12-10. During the Open Era, with the dawn of the Open Era in 1968, professional players were once again allowed to compete in Grand Slam events. Laver became Wimbledon's first Open Era champion in 1968, beating the best amateur, American Arthur Ashe, in a semi-final and fellow Australian Tony Roche in the final, both in straight sets. Laver was also the runner-up to Ken Rosewall in the first French Open. In this first Open year, there were only 8 Open events besides Wimbledon and the French Open, where professionals, registered players, and amateurs could compete against each other. The professionals mainly played their own circuit, with 2 groups, National Tennis League and World Championships Tennis, operating. Laver was ranked number 1 universally, winning the U.S. Professional Championships on grass and the French Pro Championship on clay. Laver also won the last big Open event of the year, the Pacific Southwest in Los Angeles on hard courts. Ashe regarded Laver's 4-6, 6-0, 6-0 final win over Ken Rosewall as one of his finest performances. Laver's post-match comment was, "This is the kind of match you always dream about. The kind you play at night in your sleep." In 1969, Laver won all 4 Grand Slam tournaments in the same calendar year from the second time, sealing the achievement with a 4-set win over Roche in the U.S. Open final. He won 18 of the 32 singles tournaments he entered and compiled a 106-16 win-loss record. In beating Newcombe in 4 sets in the Wimbledon final, he captured the title at the All England Club for the 4th consecutive time that he had entered the tournament. He set a record of 31 consecutive match victories at Wimbledon between 1961 and 1970, which lasted until 1980 when it was eclipsed by Bjorn Borg. Unlike his first Grand Slam year in 1962, Laver in 1969 played in events open to all the best professional and amateur players of the world. In the year's Grand Slam tournaments, Laver had 5 5-set matches, twice coming back from 2 sets down in early rounds. In the 4 finals, however, he lost a total of only 2 sets. His hardest match was a marathon 90-game semi-final against Roche at the Australian Open under tropical hot conditions. Other opponents at the Australian Open included Roy Emerson, Fred Stoll, and Andre Gimeno. At the French Open, Laver beat Gimeno, Tom Mocker, and Rosewall. At Wimbledon, Laver overcame strong challenges from Stan Smith, Cliff Drysdale, Ashe, and Newcombe. At the U.S. Open on slippery grass courts, he defeated Dennis Ralston, Emerson, Ashe, and Roche. Laver proved his versatility by winning the Grand Slam tournaments on grass and clay, plus the 2 most important hard-court titles and the leading indoor tournaments. With $124,000 in prize money, he was also the first player to break the $100,000 barrier in a year. In the early 1970s, Laver lost his grip on the major tournaments. He played only 5 Grand Slam tournaments from 1970 through 1972. This was partly because of his contracts with NTL and WCT, but on the WCT tours, he remained the leading player and by far the leading prize money winner. In 1970, Laver won 15 titles and $201,453 in prize money, including the Rich Tennis Champions Classic and 5 other big events. Those were the equivalent of the modern-day ATP Masters Series. With only 2 majors played by all the best players, there was no clear-cut world no. 1 in 1970. Wimbledon champion Newcomb, US champion Rosewall, and Laver were ranked the highest by different journalists and expert panels, although Newcomb was top-ranked by Lance Stingay. Newcomb wrote later in his autobiography, Nuke Life on and Off the Court, that the top honor in 1970 belonged to Laver. In 1971 he won 7 titles, including the Italian Open in Rome on clay over Jan Codes, the reigning French Open champion. Laver successfully defended his title at the Tennis Champions Classic, winning 13 consecutive winner-take-all matches against top opponents and $160,000. For the year, Laver won a then-record $292,717 in tournament prize money and became the first tennis player to surpass $1 million in career prize money. In 1971 and 1972, Laver finished as the points leader of the WCT tournament series but lost the playoff finals at Dallas to Rosewall. The last match is rated as one of the best of all time and drew a TV audience of over 20 million. In 1972, Laver cut back his tournament schedule, partly because of back and knee injuries and his tennis camp businesses, but he still won 5 titles that year. In 1973, Laver won 7 titles and successfully participated in the semi-finals and final of the Davis Cup, where he won all 6 of his rubbers for Australia. In 1974, Laver won 6 titles from 13 tournaments and ended the year as world No. 4 on the computer. At 36, he was the oldest player during the Open era to have been included in the year-ending top 5. In 1975, Laver set a record for WCT tournaments by winning 4 titles and 23 consecutive matches, but in 1976, he semi-retired from the main tour, playing only a few selected events. He also signed with World Team Tennis, where he became Rookie of the Year at the age of 38 but won 5 titles overall that season. Overall, despite turning 30 just months after the Open era began, Laver had tremendous success. He won 74 singles titles, which remains 5th most of the era, and his total singles match win rate of over 79% places him in the top 10 of the era. Plus, like most players of his day, he regularly played doubles, winning 37 titles. Rivalries. Laver had a long-running, friendly rivalry with Ken Rosewall between 1963, when he started out as a pro, and 1976, when both were semi-retired from the main tour. Including tournaments and one-night stands, they played over 130 matches, all of them as professionals, with some results from the barnstorming Pro Tours lost or badly recorded. Overall, a match score of 79-63 in favor of Laver can be documented. Against the older Pancho Gonzalez, whom he played 1964-1970 on the Pro Tour, Laver had a lead of 35-19 or 38-21, depending on the source. Laver had another, even longer rivalry with his fellow Queenslander Roy Emerson. They met first on the Senior Amateur Tour in 1958 and dominated the amateur circuit until 1962, before Laver turned pro. When Open Tennis arrived in 1968, Emerson joined the Pro Tour, and had many new battles with Laver. Overall, the score is 49-18 in favor of Laver, with 7-2 in major Grand Slam tournaments. Laver had also many battles with Lou Hode in his first years on the pro circuit 1963 to 1966. Although he lost the first 8 matches in January 1963, Laver later in the year began to turn around the rivalry, and until 1966, he had built a 38-21 lead. Against Arthur Ashe, Laver had a head-to-head lead of 21-3, winning all of the first 18 matches. Ashe's first win came in 1974, when Laver was 35. Another younger rival in the Open Era was John Newcombe, whom Laver led 16-5 in the head-to-head score. Davis Cup. Laver helped Australia win the Davis Cup 4 consecutive times from 1959 to 62. In 1973, professionals were permitted to play in the Davis Cup for the first time, and Laver was on a winning team for the 5th time, claiming 2 singles and a doubles rubber in the final as Australia beat the United States 5-0. Australia were crowned Davis Cup champions in each of the 5 seasons Laver played in the competition. Laver won 16 out of 20 Davis Cup singles matches and all 4 of his doubles, place among the all-time great tennis players. The members of the press, notably Lance Tingay of the Daily Telegraph, issued subjective rankings for amateur players before the start of the Open Era and for all players after the start of that era. Laver was ranked by the press as the world No. 1 player in 1961 and 1962 and in 1968 and 1969. According to the article, Bill Tilden was the best player for 7 years and Pancho Gonzalez for 8 years, while Laver was indisputably the best player from 1965 through 1969. The article asserts that Laver had a valid claim for the top spot also for 1964 and 1970. Jack Kramer, the longtime tennis promoter, ranked Laver only in the second echelon of great players, just behind the 6th best. He writes that although Laver was absolutely unbeatable for a year or two late in the 1960s, a careful comparison could be made between Laver and the somewhat older Gonzalez, and that Kramer is positive that Gonzalez could have beaten Laver regularly. Kramer's main argument for downgrading Laver is that Ken Rosewall beat Laver in those 2 World Championship of Tennis finals and that was a title Laver really wanted. Kramer sees as evidence of Gonzalez' superiority over Laver the fact that Gonzalez defeated Laver in a $10,000 winner-take-all 5-set match before 15,000 spectators in New York City's Madison Square Garden in January 1970, when Gonzalez was 41 years old and Laver was still considered the world No. 1 player. On the other hand, Gonzalez was still a top 10 player when this match took place, and Laver subsequently won this event, beating Gonzalez in a straight-set semi-final. Overall, his head-to-head record with Gonzalez was either 35-19 or 38-21 in favor of Laver, depending on the source. Laver was 12-5 against Gonzalez during the Open Era, although Gonzalez was then in his late 30s. Many experts disagree with Kramer's assessment of Laver. For example, Dan Maskell, John Barrett, Joe Macaulay, Ted Schroeder, and Tony Trabert rank Laver as the best of all time. Schroeder has been quoted by Alan Trengove as saying, "You take all the criteria, longevity, playing on grass and clay, amateur, professional, his behavior, his appearance, in all criteria, Laver's the best player of all time." Trabert said in January 2008, "I still maintain that Rod Laver is the best player who ever played the game because he's done something no one has ever done in the 120 or 140-year history of our sport. He won the Grand Slam as an amateur and he won the Grand Slam as a pro. If someone in some other sport held a world record no one else had, you would say that person was the best in that sport. So in my view, you've got to say Laver is the best player of all time." Similarly, the tennis author Peter Boda wrote in May 2008, "Give him credit. The only real issue is whether the good argument is a debate at all, given that posting those 2 slams puts Laver in a league of his own." Quote. Other experts cite the fact that during his amateur, touring professional, and open-era careers, Laver won a record 184 singles titles. He also holds the record for most titles won in a single year during the amateur era, during the touring pro era, and during the open era. After turning professional in 1963, Laver won the U.S. Pro Tennis Championships 5 times and the Wembley Pro Championship 4 times from 1964 to 1967. In 1967, Laver won a professional Grand Slam by winning all 4 of the major professional tournaments: the US Pro Championships, the Wembley Pro Championships, the French Pro Championship, and the Wimbledon Pro. Laver came out on top in various experts' polls for the best of all time. In 1986, the US magazine Inside Tennis polled 37 experts, which resulted in a computerized tournament. Laver ranked first on this list ahead of John McEnroe, Don Budge, Kramer, Bjorn Borg, Gonzalez, Tilden, Jimmy Connors, Fred Perry, and Lou Hode. In a poll by the Associated Press in 2000, Laver was voted the male tennis player of the century, ahead of Pete Sampras, Tilden, Borg, Budge, McEnroe and Hode, Rosewall and Roy Emerson, and Kramer. In an article in Tennis Week in 2007, the tennis historian Raymond Lee statistically analyzed the all-time best players. Laver topped his list ahead of Tilden and Borg, Roger Federer, Gonzalez, Rosewall, Budge, Ivan Lendl, Connors, Sampras, McEnroe, and Kramer. In 1989, Bud Collins wrote, "I remain unconvinced that there ever was a better player than Rod Laver." 13 years later, however, as editor of the Total Tennis, the Ultimate Tennis Encyclopedia, Collins was more guarded. He wrote that Laver would be known as possibly the greatest player ever, but also said that Gonzalez was probably as good as anyone who ever played the game, if not better, and Collins called Tilden perhaps the greatest player of them all. Quote. In an August 2006 article for MSNBC, Collins ranked Laver as one of the 5 top men's tennis stars of all time, along with Tilden, Gonzalez, Borg, and Sampras. He pointed to Tilden's phenomenal 938 winning percentage, said, "If I had to choose someone to play for my life it would be Pancho Gonzalez," praised Borg's uncanny transition from the French Open to Wimbledon, cited Sampras's assault on the citadels of the past, and called Laver, in my eyes, the greatest player ever. In 1973, the ATP's computer rankings were established. Laver attained his highest ranking on that computer of World No. 3 in 1974. Laver's highest year-end ranking by the ATP was World No. 4 in 1974. Laver semi-retired from the main professional tennis tour in 1975 while still being ranked in the top 10. In terms of yearly prize money, 1. Laver was the leader from 1964 until 1971. The number of tournament singles titles that Laver won during his career varies depending on the source. The ATP credits Laver with 46 open-era titles while Total Tennis, the Ultimate Tennis Encyclopedia, give him 47 of 54 titles during the open era alone. Collins credits him with 184 titles in amateur, professional, and open competition, without listing them in detail. Laver's 11 Grand Slam singles titles currently place him tied with Borg for 5th place on the all-time list. Only Sampras, Emerson, Nadal, Federer and Djokovic have won more Grand Slam singles titles. Laver also won 8 major doubles titles. Laver is the only player to have twice won all 4 Grand Slam singles tournaments during the same calendar year, although 3 of the 4 Grand Slams were played on grass at the time: the Australian Open, US Open, and Wimbledon. Because none of the majors were played on hard courts in Laver's era, he never won a Grand Slam tournament on that surface. The tennis landscape today is different, as half of the year's majors are played on hard courts. Only 6 players have won major titles on clay, grass and hard courts: Jimmy Connors, Mats Wilander, Andre Agassi, Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic. Federer, Nadal and Djokovic are the only players in history to have simultaneously held Grand Slam tournament titles on the 3 surfaces. Previous observations change substantially if we also consider professional Grand Slam majors, which were played on 3 different surfaces, and wherein Laver, like Rosewall, excelled. Furthermore, the ATP Performance Zone website lists his career win-loss percentage on hardcourt as 813, on carpet as 766, on grass as 827 and on clay as 764. Laver was unable to compete in the Grand Slam tournaments during his professional career between 1963 and 1968, and it is argued he would likely have won more titles had he been able to do so. Sports columnist Malcolm Knox of the Sydney Morning Herald assesses the effect of Laver's ban on competing in Grand Slams. He states, quote, "If Grand Slams are taken as the benchmark, consider this. Laver won 11 of the 16 Grand Slam titles he contested in his prime. The Pro Tour put him out of 20 Grand Slams from age 23 to 28. Based on this, he puts Laver and Rosewall in a class of 2 honors." In 1969, Laver was awarded the ABC Sportsman of the Year award. Laver was inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame in 1981. He was inducted into the Sport Australia Hall of Fame in 1985 and upgraded to a Legend of Australian Sport in 2002. He is also an Australian living treasure. In 2000, Centre Court at the National Tennis Centre in Melbourne was renamed Rod Laver Arena. In 2009, Laver was inducted into the Queensland Sport Hall of Fame. A footbridge in Brisbane, connecting the Yee-Ring-Pilly rail station to the Queensland Tennis Centre, was named after him.